Let's turn our attention now to Ethiopia, where African leaders are renewing diplomatic efforts to stabilize South Sudan as concerns grow over delays in implementing the country's peace agreement. At a high-level African Union meeting in Addis Ababa, Nigeria pledged stronger support for the peace process, while regional leaders urged political actors in South Sudan to recommit to dialogue and reforms. TVC News State House correspondent Femi Akonde has more.
Meeting on the sidelines of the African Union summit in Addis Ababa have intensified calls for urgent steps to rescue South Sudan's fragile peace process. At the AU High-Level Ad Hoc Committee meeting, also known as the C5+ Summit, Nigeria called for renewed commitment to the revitalized peace agreement signed to end years of civil conflict. President Bola Tinubu, represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, urged authorities in South Sudan to immediately release detained opposition leaders, including First Vice President Riek Machar, as a confidence-building measure.
The reality as we see it is that the greatest constraint to political transition in the country is the lack of political will by the stakeholders to comprehensively implement the revitalized agreement. This is why this committee should continue encouraging all South Sudanese stakeholders, particularly the current leadership of the transition government, to set aside their personal interests, place the interests of their country above all, and redouble efforts towards achieving the objectives of the transition.
Chairman of the AU mediation effort, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa, said progress since the peace agreement remains slow, despite years of diplomatic engagement.
The people of South Sudan yearn to live in a peaceful and prosperous country, and elections alone will not guarantee lasting peace. Firstly, a conducive political and security environment is vital, and it must be created.
Regional bloc IGAD, which brokered the peace deal, says the ceasefire remains one of the few successes of the agreement, but warns momentum could be lost without stronger mediation efforts.
Call on all parties to recommit to its letter of spirit, to designate at this summit a lead mediator, either a former head of states or a delegate sitting head of states from the region under IGAD's auspices.
The renewed diplomatic push comes as South Sudan continues to face insecurity, political rivalry, and economic hardship, challenges many fear could reverse fragile gains made since the civil war. African leaders say sustained dialogue and political compromise remain the only path to lasting peace. With pressure mounting on South Sudan's leaders to act, regional powers now hope this latest intervention will move the country closer to stability after years of conflict. Femi Akonde, TVC News.